to discussing them and analysing them with Kim and Heather. But Kim, I wanted to first of all talk to you about England-Scotland. And poor Scotland, I mean, all the injury woes, including yourself, before the match, and those have carried on. They've got another injury.
Yeah, we've picked up another injury with Jane Ross, our main striker, who's picked up a shoulder injury in a tackle with Steph Houghton in the second half. So I think she's looking to miss the next 2 games. And yeah, it's disappointing, and another injury that we didn't want, but we'll move on and look forward to the game against Portugal, where we're very confident we can win.
Well, pretty crucial that you do, in fact. Yeah. I mean, as for England, Heather, what did you make of that performance? Is that as good an England overall performance as you've ever seen?
Well, I think that's a dream start for England, to get 6 goals, to have 4 different goal scorers. It was a very complete performance, and that's what I recognize about this England team right now. From front to back, from starters to reserves, it's a very complete squad that Mark Sampson has put together. You know, you look back to, the years of Kelly Smith when she was healthy and playing at her best, and perhaps that's been England's biggest star through the years. But this team that they have currently is extremely deep, is extremely confident, and is fitter and more prepared than ever.
Now, what really helps at any championships is if the host nations play well. And here, the Netherlands have got off to a fabulous start. They've won both of their matches so far. Rotterdam was absolutely rocking last night as they beat Denmark 1-0.
Yeah, a great start by the Netherlands with 6 points out of their first 2 games. And some of our teammates there from Arsenal, Medema and Van de Donk, getting a penalty in the first half and Spitzer calmly putting it away, and that's a very pressurised penalty. Your home nation in front of a sellout crowd, and they'll be very proud of that first 2 games.
And our teammate, goalkeeper, amazing.
She had a very good game.
Incredible performance.
I know that you've been down to the fan zone a lot, Heather, and you know the atmosphere around here, but the major shock is Norway. They've been beaten in both their matches so far. I mean, what is going on?
Well, it was a stellar performance from Belgium here. Janice Kamen, I think, was the player of the match. She scores a little bit later on. But the storyline behind this game is certainly the poor performance of Norway. No goals so far out of Hegerberg. Obviously a star, a player that Norway is looking to step up, and she hasn't been able to.
This is the Janice Kamen goal. Elke van Gort scored the first, but I think the goalkeeper might be a little disappointed here, do you?
She gave up 2 soft goals. Norway overall, I think, has been a stretched team this entire tournament defensively. In an attack, they're just not getting the quality chances that they're accustomed to.
Now, Kim, we're going to see Sweden very shortly against Russia. How much will Sweden have to pick themselves up from that 0-0 draw, and can they do it? They're the Olympic silver medalists.
Yeah, I think, you're playing Germany in the first game. I think a 0-0 draw is not the worst result for them, considering Germany are higher ranked. But yeah, they've got a very experienced team here with them, with the spine of their team, with over 100 caps each. And I think Pia Sundhage, the Swedish coach, really believes in them. So, and especially with their silver medal at the Olympics last year, they'll bounce back, I'm sure, today, and I expect them to win comfortably.
Now, in our coverage earlier on, when we were doing the England-Scotland game, Heather was very bold, and I like a bold prediction. You said Germany are not winning this tournament, no, because nobody wins it for 7 in a row. But what will we see tonight, do you think?
Well, I think tonight you're going to see a lot of goals. I think that Germany, they were frustrated in the way that they opened up against Sweden. They are a very quality side. I said that I don't see them going all the way in this tournament because they are a team in transition right now, and I think they have a lot of young players on the field. I think that Marjan is going to get very involved in this match. I would like to see her a little bit closer to the goal. I think that she feels that she needs to cover a lot of ground, and she's not putting herself into goal-scoring positions. So I think that we'll see a little bit more of that, and I think that we'll see Mittag very ambitious and hungry to get on the score sheet herself, because as any striker knows, you want to get that first goal under your belt in a big tournament, and that's why I'm so pleased for the English squad to have so many goal scorers, because it just alleviates so much stress and pressure.
Yeah, well, as you can see, obviously, preparation's still going on here ahead of that match, which is a 7:45 kickoff, Germany against Italy. Before that, we've got Sweden up against the surprise packages of Group B, Russia. Kim Little and Heather Oreilly are alongside me here, and what do we expect from this match, Heather? A lot of goals is what you said earlier. A lot of goals for who?
Well, I think that Sweden is going to want to come out and get on the scoreboard early. I think that, they have a very experienced squad. They play a very conservative 4-4-2 style, but in a game like this, you're going to see them go for it. You're going to see them play a very expansive, aggressive style. You're going to see Asllani on that right wing going at the backs of Russia. And you're going to see a very tough, challenging job for Russia today.
Well, you can see the players getting ready there with their little mascots alongside them. And Kim, it's actually part of, I think, the romance of these major championships is everyone else who gets involved. We've been seeing those who've been involved in the rehearsals here. And it's all the kids as well thinking, yeah, we can be a part of this.
Yeah, definitely. I think from a different perspective than normal and what I would have liked, it's also nice to just see how everything else works and what all you guys put into it, and to see, the young kids getting involved, which is what really it's all about.
Now, if Russia were to start investing heavily in women's football, the sort of world order could change, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think, Russia had a great result in the first match against Italy, winning 2-1, and going into this match, I think they'll be confident. Although, I expect Sweden to overpower them and to win. But Russia, I think, will give them a good test today.
Well, we should get ourselves in a position where we can watch this match, as you all can at home, because as you can see. Welcome back to the Netherlands. We are live here on More 4 with further coverage of the Women's Euro 2017 Championships. Kim Little and Heather Oreilly alongside me. And we've been watching the first half of Sweden against Russia. Sweden leading 1-0 thanks to a goal from their captain. I think the 87th goal of her career. And Schellen, it was actually in the end fairly lucky when it came out to her. Did you think, Heather?
Well, I think that she's been working for that first opening goal the entire tournament. Set pieces are a thing that Sweden has always had in their arsenal as a strength, and she took advantage of a goalkeeping error and was just able to get a flick on that ball.
Yeah, the 19-year-old Russian goalkeeper had been having a great game, and to be honest, it deserves a lot of credit for the fact the scoreline is only 1-0, but possibly this was an error.
Yeah, I think so. She, in my opinion, shouldn't have come out to get that and made it quite an easy finish for Schellen. I think she has been impressive for a 19-year-old, I think, especially from the first game against Italy. She got the win for Russia in that game, and then in this game before this she was pretty impressive. She came out, she punched quite a few crosses and corner kicks, so I'm sure she'll be disappointed in that, but Schellen definitely took it well.
Yeah, Lotta Schellen, I think, has made more appearances than anyone bar one Swedish player ever, and I guess in those situations you just got to keep your eye on the ball. There's a massive goalkeeper coming flying at you. Keep your eye on the ball.
Well, I think that's what great goal scorers do. They think that it's always going to come to them. They think optimistically, and great defenders always think pessimistically. I always think about my U.S. teammate, Becky Sauerbrunn. She plays center back for the U.S., and she always thinks pessimistically out in the field, and that really helps her be able to cover for the team. Now, as a front runner, you always are thinking that the ball is coming to you, and that's exactly what Lotta Schellen did on that play.
Now, it's only 1-0. It could have been an awful lot more because Sweden had plenty of chances. Kim, we can have a look at a few of them. A very early one, even before 6 minutes was up. And this is Olivia Schoff.
Yeah, they did. They were very dominant, especially earlier in the game, and I think they created a lot of chances, got quite a few corner kicks as well. And I think Asllani, the other wide player, was very effective.
Yes, we'll have a look at that in a minute,
And I think they'll be disappointed not to have scored more. But I think, they're 1-0 up. They've got that goal, and they'll look to push on in the second half. Yeah,
you can see plenty of Asllani in the Women's Super League now at Manchester City, but have a look at how close she got with this one.
Yeah, I think Asllani was impressive. She played wide on the right and picked up the ball in some good areas, slightly narrower in this shot on goal. And I was just saying to Heather, before we came out for half-time, I think it would be nice to maybe even see her more centrally. She's probably one of the only ones that really turns and dribbles at defenders. And from a wide area, you can do that effectively, but generally you're only going to get a cross. But if you do that centrally, you're going to get a shot on goal. So I'm not sure they'll do it, but it's maybe something I would have thought about to get her in more effective positions to score.
It seemed to me from watching that Russia are quite physical. Sometimes a little loose with the rules, perhaps. And they've had to be quite scrappy sometimes in defence, clearing it off the goal line, just trying to get bodies in between the ball and the goal.
Well, I think there are a lot of bodies between Sweden and their goal-scoring opportunities. I think that Morozova has done a really nice job sitting in front of her back four. I think for Sweden to have success against a team that is essentially bunkering and hoping to spring for some counterattacks, you do need to get around the outside. And I think that we saw early success with Asllani. I'd like to see Samuelsson get around Asllani and create more numerical advantages in that regard. And then when they're in the final third, they really need to pick out the players in the box. They've been getting services. They've been successful in that regard, but not in picking out players. And we saw that in their first game, and we're seeing that a little bit here. And that's the reason why they're having trouble scoring.
And that goal by the Swedish captain Lotta Schelling is the difference between Sweden and Russia. Sweden leading 1-0. Now, Heather, you know the Sweden coach, Pia Sundhage, very well. She used to coach you in the USA. What will she be saying to her players right now?
Well, I think Pia is going to encourage her team to continue to play free, be brave, have fun. She knows that this has been a little bit of a tight tournament for Sweden so far, and she's going to encourage Asllani to continue to find joy, getting in line, getting balls in the box. And I think most of all, she's going to continue to do what she's always done, and that's have belief in her core group of veteran players. They're a very experienced group. They've played together for a very long time. A lot of these players have over 100 caps. So I think that she's just going to encourage the team to enjoy the process and find joy out there.
And just a reminder, we are here in Tilburg. We're going to be showing you Germany against Italy at 7:45, but let's head back now. Sweden have their first win of these Women's European Championships. They have beaten Russia 2-0 thanks to goals from Lotta Schelling and Stina Blackstenius. And for Sweden, that puts them top of the group. They celebrate there in Deventer. And although the Russian side were very physical and they certainly kept up the pressure right to the end, they simply weren't as good. Sweden now with 4 points. Russia, though, with 3 thanks to their win against Italy in their opening game. Germany, of course, if they win in our second match, which we will be showing you live, they will join Sweden at the top of the group on 4 points. Heather Oreilly and Kim Little alongside me. So how would you describe Sweden and indeed that performance, Heather?
Well, I would simply say job done. You know, it wasn't their best football. They probably aren't going to be that excited about the way that they played. They didn't find a lot of joy out there. It seemed like a very, tense matchup in terms of creating chances. So I think that they're thinking, we're going on to match 3 against Italy. We have more chances to play attacking football, more chances for goals. So I would purely say job done. Put that game behind you, and they're rolling on with 4 points.
And what would you give them, do you think, as a score, Kim?
Yeah, I think, like Heather said, I don't think they were at their best, but I think throughout a tournament you don't want to be at your best at this stage. So they've got a 0-0 draw against Germany. They've won against Russia today, and they go into the last group game, in a very good position. And yeah, I'm not sure, I wouldn't give them a big score, but yeah, they were definitely efficient, which is how you would generally describe the Swedes.
And still very hard to score on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we'll have a look at their goals before we discuss how organised they are in defence. Lotta Schelling got the first one in the first half, the Sweden captain, and in the second half it was Stina Blackstenius chasing down. This is the first goal, though. This is Schelling keeping her eyes on the ball as the Russian goalkeeper came steaming towards her.
A little bit of inexperience showing in Scherbak's aggressive approach there, missing the punch, and Schelling stays optimistic in front of the goal, keeps her eye on it, is able to knot it home.
It's unfortunate, actually, for Scherbak. He's only 19, because you could argue the second goal was a goalkeeping mistake as well. Poor clearance.
Absolutely, a poor clearance that later is picked up by Sweden, and Blackstenius is able to take on her defenders and slot it home, something that I'm sure that she's happy about going into the tournament with a goal under her belt.
Yeah, and I think with a 19-year-old, it's obviously her first major tournament. I don't think she actually played in qualifications. So, yeah, although she's made, little mistakes, I'm sure she's going to play in a lot more major tournaments, so she'll learn from them.
She actually made some spectacular saves in their first game against Italy and today. So it is disappointing for her that she gave up some maybe simpler plays, but she did make them spectacular ones.
I've just been offered team sheets for our game here, Germany.
Oh,
so
perfect.
have a look exactly. Very exciting when these things happen. We'll be giving you all the details of this
Fresh
later.
off the press.
Exactly, fresh off the press. This is for Germany against Italy. Let's just have a look at some of the other Sweden chances, because they could have more. It doesn't matter. I mean, unless it did come down to goal difference. And if it does, is it goal difference or goals scored that will count? Do you know?
I presume it's goal difference.
Okay.
Start, and then I think it may go head to head.
Yes,
I
think head to head is first, actually. But have a look at a couple of these chances.
This chance for me, I was speaking to Heather about. I was thinking about the tournament and the games, and I'm I don't really feel like I've seen a play where I've literally been wow. When you watch Messi say play or someone like that. In this play, although she didn't quite finish it, she put it over the bar. It was that kind of play. It was a nice ball in from the left back. And a great touch. I love that ball over your shoulder. You just, and pick it out. I was wow, there, she didn't finish it, but it was definitely one of the moments of the tournament in terms of the technique.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's discuss Sweden's organisation, the way they keep themselves in formation.
Well, Sweden's a very consistent squad. They've played a lot of the same veteran players for a long time. Nila Fischer is one of the most experienced players on the park, and she's playing center back for Sweden. And her organization, her leadership, her communication, her awareness of when to step and when to drop is superb and is one of the best. And that's why Sweden is just so hard to score on, so hard to break down.
Yeah, I think they've only conceded 3 goals in their last 11 games, which really is impressive. So Sweden with a win under their belt. Will we see Germany doing the same tonight? We are here in Tilburg, and both Germany and Italy are as well. We're not that far from the German border, so I would think about 106 kilometres. It's not too far away for the passionate German fans who will be here to see the champions. They've won the last 6 titles at the European Championships, dating back to 1995. And they're up against Italy, who always look extremely well dressed. In the middle there, that's Melania Gabbiadini, the brother of Manolo, who plays for Southampton. And Italy looking sharp. Will they be sharp out on the pitch? We will find out very shortly. We'll be looking ahead to that match. You could tell from the way Ellen White was talking to me afterwards how fired up they are, how excited to have started the championships in such style, and it really was a good performance, wasn't it?
Spectacular performance, again, to get a lot of people on the score sheet to score some spectacular goals. You know, those weren't lucky goals. Those were class goals, class finishes, and they have to be so thrilled with that first game. But I'm sure Mark Sampson is telling them that one's over. Put it to bed, on to match 2. And so, you know, they can't relish in it too much longer.
As we mentioned earlier, obviously Scotland have had terrible problems with injury coming into these championships. Kim Little being a key player missing for them. Kim, they picked up another one with Jane Ross. How will they gather themselves together and try and take on Portugal, who are also debutantes in this?
I actually caught up with a couple of the players yesterday. Jane Ross being one of them. She's obviously extremely disappointed, but I think with Jane Ross being out, yes, experienced players, it gives the younger ones a chance to play in. I'm sure Anna will bring some of them in against Portugal, and I hope that they can get experience that they can maybe use going into the future. So they'll be looking forward to it, yeah.
And it's brutal, really, but so much of top-level sport is about how you recover from setbacks. Kim, how you pick yourself up, how you re-energise the group.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I think as Rach spoke there, you know, they're very positive. I think you could see that after the game. They know they need to move on. You spoke to Gemma Fay straight after the game. You know, It's a disappointing result, but you know we need to move on quickly. These kind of tournaments and the games come so fast that you just have to move on.
And actually, Heather, it's pretty important, that side of things. Yes, you can be physically fit, but you actually need to be mentally robust.
Yeah, you do. It's endurance, a tournament like this, and whether you win or lose your matches, it's mentally draining, it's emotionally draining, and so it's really important, like Kim said, to put the match behind you, focus on the next game, and that can be challenging coming off a win or a loss. I mean, it's mentally draining both the same.
Yes, that's a very fair point. And England, again, have got to reset for their next challenge. Channel4.com for all the details on that. And just go to /Euros and you'll be able to get that daily download. It's really good fun, actually, because you get some insight behind the scenes. And Kim, you know the England players very well. How delighted will Jodie Taylor have been, not just to score a hat-trick, but to sort of show her best on the international stage?
Yeah, I think for any player, but yeah, especially a forward, and a forward like Jodie Taylor, who, you know, what she does well is she scores goals and she takes her chances, even when she has very few. And yeah, I saw her last night and she was extremely happy, but she's, you know, very modest and knows that there's a lot more to do. So, yeah, she was extremely clinical and she was, you know, very happy with her performance.
And it's so nice for her because she's had all sorts of injury issues over the years. Heather, how impressed were you with Jordan Nobbs?
Jordan is an incredible footballer. She certainly has the total package when it comes to football brain and being able to technically execute what she has in that brain, you know, and I think what we saw in that last match was a perfect execution of that volley. Nearly every player would swing early on that volley, and she patiently waited for it to drop and slammed it home. So I was thrilled for her, but her game is very complete. I mean, if you watch her defensively, the way she keeps possession for her team, it's really top-notch. She's one of the best midfielders, I think, in the game right now, and it's exciting for for me to see her be able to show that in a major tournament. I know that she was a little bit injured in the World Cup in 2015, which was extremely frustrating for her because she wasn't able to show her best on the world stage, and here she is at the Euros doing just that.
It's a great start for England, but they are going to have to build on it. As you can see behind us, the Italy play actually over 10 days in July. Gosh, I thought I was going to get knocked over there by an Italian player. I must learn to not be quite so, nervous around them. But they're warming up right behind us. Now, these sort of drills, this must have changed, even in the time that you've been playing, in terms of intensity and the way players work on their fitness right before a match, Heather.
Well, to be honest, I've never seen handball being played right before a match, so that's new to even me. But the sports science aspect of the game has increased and improved so much over the last 3 to 5 years, I would say. So, the players are being led through warm-ups that will get them the most ready and the most prepared to play.
And it's actually, the warm-ups have been reduced in time, so they're just made a bit more intense. We do a lot more activation things which fire our muscles up, which is maybe surprising if you don't play football, but yeah, they reduce the time to just get you off your feet more, but get you activated really quickly.
And actually, one of the things I think a lot of the teams are doing is sort of sessions in the morning before a match, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were in the locker rooms before the game, you would see band work being done in the locker room. So a lot of prep is being done for their bodies to be ready to go.
Now, how will this match go? Because Germany, obviously, they had a 0-0 draw against Sweden. We've seen Sweden earlier on today beating Russia 2-0 to get their first win on the board. Germany are the superpowers of these European Championships. They have been undefeated in this tournament for the last 6 rotations. And let's have a look at the German team. And the captain here is Jennifer Marotzen. But Heather, give me some of the key players here and indeed their formation.
Well, they made a couple of changes from match 1, but I think the players that you need to always keep an eye on is Marjan and Mittag. Those are experienced players, world-class players that are definitely going to be looking to get on the score sheet tonight. But again, Germany has a wonderful developmental program. They're always going to have great players come through the ranks, come through the program. But there is a lot of youth out there. You have Josephine Henning, who didn't get much time with Lyon this last season, so she might not have the match minutes under her belt that's maybe necessary to win this tournament.
But they are a team in transition, aren't they, Kim? And I think that's why Heather thinks they may be vulnerable at these European Championships.
Yeah, they obviously have had a changing coach in Steffi Jones, and I read an article in an interview she did about how strong the team is and how consistent it is throughout. So when she makes changes, she doesn't actually think she's making them any weaker. So today we see changes in the fullback area, but in her head, her first 11 are as strong as her second 11 that she's going to play.
Now, what about Italy? Well, they were beaten in their opening match by Russia. As you know, they are right behind us warming up. And let's have a look at their team. And Kim, who should we be keeping an eye on in the Italian team?
Yeah, I played against Italy a number of times internationally, and I think Gabby Udini, the captain in number 8, is a player that's, always in the starting 11. She's, a forward player, likes to be in the final third, is very technical and tricky, and I think she'll be the main threat to the Germans.
Now, a few more details about her. She's the older sister of a very good Southampton player. And Heather, do you think Italy can make Germany think a bit here?
I think it's going to be a difficult match for Italy. They do have some quality on their side, but I think that they are going to be under a lot of pressure from the Germans. The Germans are likely going to have a lot of possession in this game, but the Italian team can't feel like that is a bad thing. They just have to stay compact, wait for their moments, and maybe they'll get a chance through Moro to put one away.
I've never seen this before, handball being played for so long.
But maybe it's a sort of real team bonding thing.
Yeah.
As well as just getting you loose. And
it looks like a lot of fun to me.
It does.
Yeah, they look like they're moving very quickly. Sharp.
We'll be hearing from Steve very shortly. It is a gorgeous evening here in Tilburg, and actually the German team is being announced at the moment, and there's cheering around the stands. I mean, it is for them. They're going to have 7,000 fans here. It's almost like a home game.
Nearly a home game, being so close to the border. I think that Germany, they usually don't need that kind of extra motivation. They are, ready to perform in any environment, whether home, away, nearly home. So I think that they're just going to go about their business like they always do.
What do you think, Kim, has been the secret to Germany's success and sustained success over the years?
Well, I think we spoke about earlier again the fact that most of the Germans do actually play in Germany, which isn't necessarily the case for most of the other nations. So I think they obviously have a very good league there. I think for me is one of the most consistent in with lots of depth throughout the league. You know, a lot of leagues in the world there's a good 4 to 6 teams, but lower than that there's quite a drop-off. But I think in Germany that's much less, and I think that's the main reason why they have been very successful over the years.
They also always used to play mixed football up to a much higher age than in the UK. I think they were playing mixed until they're sort of 18, whereas we were at one stage 12, and I think it might have gone up to 16 now.
I think there's a lot of wonderful football being played in Germany overall. I think that Germany has been one of the pioneers on the women's side for providing the proper resources for these girls to develop. And I think Lucy Ward said it perfectly. The developmental program for Germany is the best in the world. I mean, they are all playing the same style. They're all in good communication with each other, all through the youth system and then through the senior team. Steffi Jones has known that she's going to be the head coach for Germany for, I think, 2 years now, so she's had plenty of time to prepare and keep an eye on some of these younger players.
Melania Gabardini there in shot, the captain for Italy, you know, and obviously from a very strong footballing family, and sometimes it needs one player to sort of be the star and encourage other girls and other women to follow in her footsteps, and Italy are one of those that, you know, they have progress still to make.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, when you have a player like that in your team and they're able to take the team forward, to do things and beat players, especially against a team like Germany, which is very hard, you know, that helps players around her, you know, take a breath and feel like they can do it too. And I'm sure she'll, you know, try and do that today. She
looks such a good shape for a footballer as well. Low centre of gravity,
yeah.
Quick, you know, strong, fit. It'll be. I mean, I can't wait to see this match because, you know, traditionally Italian sport is about flair, can cause a surprise. German sport tends to be about efficiency and organisation. And Heather has predicted plenty of goals for us.
I think that we'll see a lot of goals. I think that Germany, you know, they're coming away with a 0-0 result against Sweden. We all know that Germany's not happy with a draw. So I think that they're going to come out tonight, look to put some away. I think it'll be an exciting match. I think for Italy, if they can stay compact, and then when they do win it, they need outlets because they need a little bit of relief from being under this intense German pressure that it's about to come.
Do you both feel that these European Championships are reaching a level of interest that is sort of superior to any before? And I'm thinking really as well because the Netherlands are doing so well. They've won 2 out of 2. The home crowd are excited. The Belgians are going well. It's not far from the border. They've been quite clever where they've put these matches so that fans from certain countries can get here.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the women's game has developed over the past 10 years, you know, pretty substantially, and I think this year has definitely showed that. I mean, you see, you know, all the TV channels and the people come to watch, and I think especially with the Netherlands doing so well early on, and you know, being close to Germany and getting the support like at today's game, it's definitely moving another step in the right direction.
I'm not sure we're quite at the American levels yet, but we're getting there, Heather. We're trying. And certainly England beating Scotland 6-0 made headlines back home.